Hello, everyone. It's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland Reviewer. Welcome to Lost in the Wasteland, my weekly interview show where I learn a little bit more about somebody else's perspective on movies. And joining me this week, SiftPop contributor, frequent collaborator, franchise paradiso, as am I, May Honey. May, thank you so much for coming on.
Hello, hello. Thank you so much. It is nothing short of an honor.
It's always fun when I get to, chat some movies with people on here. And, we have our wonderful Sith Pop crew. And I enjoyed your couple episodes of Franchise Paradiso, which has quickly become my second favorite podcast. And they're not paying me, I promise. Um, but they're a lot of fun, and so are you, May, and I'm looking forward to chatting with you. But before I jump into the questions here, would you like to shamelessly plug anything?
You can mainly just find me on like a consistent basis, social media wise. That's Letterboxd for the most part. I'm just at May Ellen. That's if you wanted to like see consistently see me post, that's where it is. Screw Twitter, screw Facebook, screw all that. I can't. I just can't. My mind can't handle it. I'm feeble and old-minded, so I can't. I write a lot as well for Rowan's new website, Knock on Wood, and a new article should be getting posted up there pretty soon from me. And
Also,
I'm very excited as covering the film Ginger Snaps from the year 2000, and
nice.
why you should watch it. And to everyone there, watch the movie Ginger Snaps. It's fantastic. And read my article and check out the website in general. There's a bunch of great people writing, including the kind man who is across from me here.
Yes, I did a couple of my first ever festival coverage articles for Rowan's site, Knock on Wood, and then I have my lessons from the Wasteland each month. But I look forward to checking out your article on Ginger Snaps. I did enjoy that movie when I checked that out. Oh God, it all blurs together. It had to be within the past couple of years. Uh, but
You watch so many movies.
which is why it's funny because I found a secondary app to keep track of everything I actually watch, and it's literally just for me. And it's Film Log if you want to check it out. It's literally an internal list where it's like because the only things that I review and rate on Letterboxd generally are new films that I watch. So, but I do enjoy looking at everybody else's ratings that pop up and try not to be upset when I see like sad ratings for movies that I love. But that's Letterboxd for you. But let's get
Oh
started, May.
yeah,
Let's start with a wonderfully easy question, which is what's your favorite film
of all time.
of all
Okay,
time?
so if I was to be a no fun nanny over here, my normal answer when someone asks me this is that I don't have one. um, it's just normally like I have so many moods, and I'm like I
Yeah.
can't put one. But for the sake of the question, you sent me the list yesterday. I was like, I'm just gonna try to iron this out.
Mm,
And I ended up going with the very first Matrix film,
very nice.
and I just think it's high concept. It's one of those movies you can enjoy on literally every single level. If you want to
Mm,
not care about anything, feel dumb, and just enjoy whatever, like the things you're getting in your eyeballs, The Matrix is eye candy, fun, exciting. If you want to feel emotionally invested in great characters, The Matrix is great. If you want to think, if you want to unravel a puzzle while it never getting convoluted, The Matrix is it. It's it's a perfect film for me. I can't think of a movie I'd put over it, so that's why I say The Matrix.
well, if I could sum up my response in one word, it's wow. The Matrix is it is a perfect film. It is incredible. And this is how you do genre filmmaking. This is how you do action. And also with a lot to think about and process,
Mm-hmm.
especially in a world of technology that we have. And as a robophobe myself, when the machines try to take over, we do need the one.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Whoever that may be. If it's Keanu Reeves, I wouldn't doubt it.
We can
So
only hope.
but yeah, fun side note, I've been having an argument with my friend Matt for the past 12 years on what the best action sci-fi film of all time is. His answer is The Matrix. Mine's T2 Judgment Day. You got a third friend who says Aliens, and then this will never end. Uh, but The Matrix is incredible, so definitely a great choice.
I'll
Now,
put
May, let's
ultraviolet in there. That's a joke. That's a
Well,
joke.
there's so many great films to check out, and action sci-fi is such a great subgenre to really sink your teeth into.
Oh
Now,
yeah.
May, what's your earliest memory of going to the movies?
Now, you see, this is tricky for me because I know I saw some movies in theaters when I was a
Uh-huh.
kid, but you say memory of. So of sitting in the theater, I remember sitting in the theater. This is going to show my age. When I was a very young child, I watched Spider-Man 3 in the in the theater in 2007. And as a kid, and I have zero critical thinking skills, Spider-Man 3 was the greatest movie I'd ever seen in my life. And I'm still a defender of Spider-Man 3, to be fair. I don't think it's as good as the first two, but I'm
Mhm.
still, which is maybe the most uncontroversial statement of all time to say. But yeah, yeah, I mean, I still enjoy it. I'm not going to claim it's not in a lot of ways colored by nostalgia, but I still think there's a lot of good stuff about that movie. And I just remember that's where I honestly probably fell in love with the blockbuster experience going to a theater because even when I was not even double digits years old yet, I you couldn't escape that movie was an event. That was a huge
Yes,
thing.
it was. I remember.
Oh yeah.
What, 2007, I was 16, and I remember seeing that and At World's End. I think they were back-to-back weekends. So Pirates of the
Wow.
Caribbean and Spider-Man 3. Here's the thing, Spider-Man 3, if they recast one role, I feel like it would be considerably better movie. And who might I be talking about? Uh,
Yeah.
Foreman.
Yeah, yeah. Quit that show to do.
Oh man. I just but no, they shoot obviously they shoehorned Venom into that movie. Venom should have been saved for another movie. I feel like memes have made like emo bully
Bully
Parker so
McGuire,
much
yeah.
better.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, yeah.
It's like in hindsight, that is legitimately hilarious.
Oh
Like when he's
yeah.
acting that way. And it's Sam Raimi. It is campy. It's supposed to be ridiculous. Um
I
the
mean,
the
there's legit good stuff in that movie though. Like you get the whole Sandman bit.
Oh no, there's a lot
Yeah.
of good stuff in that movie. I feel like a lot
Yeah.
of people just remember like
Like
the Bully Maguire parts and then how bad Venom was.
yeah.
I don't want to hear about you and your spidey senses are tingling about Mary Jane. I legitimately could not take him seriously as Eddie Brock for 1 second. But not like
Being bad makes me happy.
oh, that's right up there with with I I hate sand. Like
Dude, I was just thinking that. I was just thinking that. Yeah.
uh vaguely the same time. It's
Oh
within like
yeah.
2 years of each other. But no, the Sandman was great. Honestly, what they did with Harry, I think, worked. It's just that if it wound up just being
100%.
him and Harry fighting the Sandman at the end, that's a completely different story, and it makes sense. And like
Would have been
Thomas
S
Hayden
tier,
Church is
honestly. Yeah.
the CGI is amazing. Boy,
Hmm.
you had Davy Jones and the Sandman within 1 week of each other in theaters. How is that the peak of CGI? This is 2024. What the hell are you doing? Uh, but
How dare you dig Ant-Man the Wasp Quantumania dirty like that? Come on, man. Acknowledge it.
Murdoch was hilarious. I'll say that right now. Could he have been? I don't know, but he was. Um, but no, I think I distinctly remember seeing Spider-Man 3 in the theater, and that was indeed an event. And that's definitely a special movie to be able to see for like the first time in a theater. And they're
Yeah,
re-releasing all of them.
they
Just so
are.
happens over I think Cinemark is showing all the Spider-Man films, literally from Sam Raimi's first Spider-Man through No Way Home getting re-released.
Oh my goodness. That's
It's
wow.
time for it's time for the internet to be like Amazing Spider-Man was actually a good movie
Oh,
because that's what the
you're not on
internet
that.
does.
You haven't been on that wave yet. That's already done happened. That's
Oh,
I
it's
know
gonna
plenty of
happen again. Well,
I know
ever
plenty of
since
people in my real life think The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is one of the best Spider-Man movies of all time, unironically.
I disagree, Gary. But like, but no, it's like I would not agree with that statement. But like, to each their own. But
It's fun to
in a
watch.
in a world where we have Into the Spider Verse and Across the Spider Verse, people are going to make that statement.
Uh, hard agree.
Okay,
Hard agree with
okay.
you there. Yeah, hard agree.
Now shifting gears to a couple other favorites. What's your
uh,
favorite genre of film?
oh, I mean, if you are familiar with any of the stuff that he plugged up there, this answer will be unsurprising to you. But any of you who haven't met me or haven't heard of me before, horror. I am a horror whore, as I call
There you
myself.
go.
And I mean, my Shutter subscription is being just it's being used the hell out of. I mean,
They make no money off of you.
they make all the money off of me. If streaming numbers mean all the money, then they're making all the money. Like, I mean, I just, yeah, I freaking love horror movies, man. Like, I just, I think there's so much possibility in
Mhm.
storytelling there. It's probably the most diverse genre because, like, you can go hilarious, like, you can go Shaun of the Dead, you can
Yep.
go the most horribly, darkly awful, just sadness ripping soul apart.
Anything
Like,
that A24 makes.
I was about to say Hereditary.
Yeah.
Right. You can go there. I mean, you can go super like artsy and symbolic, like The Lighthouse. You can do high concept sci-fi with like Annihilation. You can do
Mhm.
blockbusters with the It films. You can do anything. It's intimate and high concept. It's limitless, and also it thrills you. It's the kind of
Mhm.
thing to where the very basis of the genre, if it is successful in it, you can't get bored of because it's meant to be animal in a certain way. And so, like,
It's such a
horror movies forever.
it's such an interesting genre because I feel like it's one of the genres that like has the widest range of possible quality too. Because like
Hmm.
they can be bad,
Oh yeah.
real bad.
Oh
And
yeah.
and then you just listed off everything that haunts my dreams. So there you go. So if anybody heard me talk about horror movies on Franchise Paradiso, you would know I'm a big baby, and horror is newer to me. Like Heath got me to watch The Ring for the first time, because he was a guest on Ronan the Wasteland. I'm just like, I shouldn't have watched this at night. This is a bad idea. Hey, hey, I watched the Babadook at 1 o'clock in the afternoon with a bright, sunny sky and was curled up in a ball on my couch.
Oh
So
yeah.
that's the kind of experience I have. My friend Pat laughed at me. Pat, if you're listening, I still remember. Uh, he just came out cackling, eating his chicken McNuggets, and I'm just like, stop, please. But horror is such a great genre, and there's so many great films. And you're right, there's a lot of variety that you can have, different types of horror, because a lot of things are scary. You know, all kinds of stuff.
Hmm.
A lot of real things are scary. A lot of supernatural things are scary. Murderers are scary. Those murderers can be fantastical. They could be dolls. They could be
All right. Yeah.
burnt burnt people in multicolored sweaters. They could be all kinds of things. It could be William Shatner masked people. So, it's pretty
Mhm.
great. Now, May, do you have a particular favorite filmmaker?
Ooh, oh man, this is gonna make me like I was talking about. Yeah, horror is my favorite thing, and I want to sound even more basic. Here we go, because I guess here's I will try to give a good defense though, even though I shouldn't have to defend it. Um,
You don't have
Spielberg,
you don't have to defend
Spielberg,
anything on here. So
yeah,
you said
it's Steven
Spielberg.
Spielberg. Yeah, Steven Spielberg for me. Yeah, and I'm going to kind of work at this backwards because I have
Okay.
like I have like a long listed second place, and those are Quentin Tarantino, Martin Scorsese, and Christopher Nolan are my second placers. The reason I think Steven Spielberg is my favorite is because he's the guy that can kind of do all of what they're best at. It's like you get those like Christopher Nolan, those high concept, really
Mhm.
dynamic, really exciting event films that are both ubiquitous and as unique as they are ubiquitous.
Mhm.
Steven Spielberg is literally the king of that. You get Quentin Tarantino, who brings so much style, brings so much specificity, that brings so much capturing of an era and a story. Steven Spielberg can so do that. He's even proven that with his big budget films. Like those Indiana Jones films are some of the most well realized period pieces of the 80s. And you get someone
Yeah.
like Martin Scorsese, who's so in love with dissecting humanity at its worst and its best, and what we can do as a species. And he had, and very famously, I mean, the movie that probably most people would think of when I say all that is probably something like Schindler's List, the worst and the best, and all of what we can do as a species. It's like I just think he's the most diverse while being almost the best at all of them.
Well, that's the thing, and a lot of people take Steven Spielberg for granted because
Oh
it's
yeah,
like
I've noticed that. Yeah.
it's so easy to take him for granted. It's so easy
Mm-hmm.
to take somebody like Tom Hanks for granted. It's like
Mm-hmm.
one of those things where it's just like they're so good and you just expect them to be. So like you don't think about like, wow, West Side Story was incredible. And this guy's never done a musical before. Just strolls in and remakes a classic musical. I love The Fablemans. It's like
One of his best
he
movies he's ever made. It's incredible, dude. Yeah.
and literally he had Jurassic Park and Schindler's List in the same year.
That imagine that. Imagine that coming out with those two movies.
Range.
Right.
And he's such an amazing auteur director too, because it's not just that he makes really great populist films. He is a great director in terms of the art of direction and
Oh yeah.
crafting a film. So it's like, I'm not gonna, nobody should argue with that. And if people think it's basic, it's whatevs.
Oh yeah.
Because
It's just like
he's one of the
the
greatest
man's,
of all time. So
it's like even when you think of like the greatest like musical artists per se, like it would be basic to say someone like my favorite band's the Beatles, but like the amount of classics that those men have, it's like how can
mm,
you blame someone for saying that?
yeah,
Because it's like you got E.T., you got all three Indiana Jones films, all three of them. You got you got freaking Jaws, you got Schindler's List, Saving Private Ryan, Jurassic Park, even to the later stuff like Minority Report. You got like even his like later stuff like The
Catch Me If You
Fablemans,
Can,
Catch Me If You Can. It's just like
Close
how
Encounters.
Close Encounters. How many classics does one need to rack up? you know,
He has a lot. And if you want
right?
to check out all my thoughts on literally every single one of his films, you could go check out Welcome to the Wasteland, where I dove into all of them. All of them. But let's get in front of the camera. Who are some of your favorite actors or
Mhm.
actresses?
Now, this is where I'm going to sound very unbasic. I might have I'd be surprised if anyone on your show has said this person, because often when I say this to people when they ask me these questions in life, they're more often than not they're like, "Who?" and my answer is Tony Leung, who is a frequent Wong Kar Wai collaborator.
Yes.
He
Mhm.
I just think, speaking of a guy who can do everything and you don't think about it, he can
Mhm.
do everything. Most people would probably, just like a normal blockbuster going audience, would probably know him as the villain in Shang-Chi,
Yep. At this point,
and
yes, probably.
which is, its own version of sad, but we can get past that. He's great in that movie, though. He's great in that
Yes.
movie. And he's one of the best MCU villains of all time, and I'll stand by that. but like he's like obviously I mentioned Wong Kar Wai. He's in the mood for love. He's in Chungking Express.
Yep.
And talk about a performer that's able to hold so much behind a face that would seem stoic, but
Mm.
God, is he emoting so much in behind that? And he's got like even like great genuine like action chops, like Hero. Oh my
Yep.
God,
Mm.
like Hard Boiled. He's in, and like he's even really funny. He's in this great underrated Jackie Chan film named Gorgeous that is utterly fantastic, and you should totally check him out in if you haven't seen Gorgeous. Gorgeous is a masterpiece.
The infinite walk list.
oh yes, 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 yes.
But no, he's a fantastic actor, and I'm glad that he got that kind of spotlight in Shang-Chi. So hopefully people go check out some of his other work. But like Wong Kar-wai is such a fantastic filmmaker, and Tony Leung is so good in his films, and being able to work with, you know, acting against like Chow Yun Fat in Hard Boiled, it's just
Hmm.
so many great performances, and like being a fixture of Hong Kong cinema is a pretty big deal. So if you are out there trying to expand your horizons, his work is definitely some great places to start, especially with like more modern Asian cinema. Because like,
Hmm.
not gonna lie, my biggest dive into Asian cinema is definitely like Kurosawa. But like, if you're looking for like some more modern films, like Hard Boiled was, I think, the second film that Rowan and I did on Rowan and the Wasteland. Such
Wow.
a great time. And I've done In the Mood for Love and Chungking Express on my movie club with my friends, both of them. So you should check out his work. There you go. Shameless plugs all around. Did you have did you have anyone else you wanted to throw out before we move on to the next question?
I mean, I just want to, of course, Jackie Chan. Just already mentioned him. Just one of the people that it's like a Keanu Reeves, where like outside of film, he's also just someone that you can't help but love. And yeah, I mean, just the dedication and the humor, but also the heart that he
Yep.
brings to everything. He could be in the worst movie of all time, and he could not be bad in it if he tried, because he's Jackie frickin' Chan.
And I think the most important thing is for people to remember that acting is not just reading lines.
Oh
Because I
yeah,
feel like the physicality of acting gets overlooked a lot, and which is why people are like, "Oh, Keanu Reeves is such a terrible actor." Does Keanu Reeves read lines the best out of anybody? No. Has he found his groove? Yes. But
yes.
it's the reactions, it's the physicality, what he's able to do. People praise the hell out of Tom Cruise because he does all of his own damn stunts. Look at Jackie Chan.
Mm,
Just the
dude,
like doing your own stunts to
he's
like
been doing
the
it.
max.
Yeah.
So
And like they make up all those action scenes on the day. Like that end fight of the Legend of the Drunken Master, they choreographed that on the day. That's insane. That they made
insane.
one of the most legendary hand-to-hand fights of all time just on the day. That's just like that's talent that's worth recognizing, and it's beautiful stuff, honestly.
Absolutely. Now, May, what's a film that you could watch literally every day?
I think I got Last Crusade, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Um,
Nice.
to me, like it's something that like is both simultaneously like soul affirming, which is kind of weird to think the Last Crusade, but I genuinely like I really connect to the father son relationship in that film, and I just think it's really just well portrayed. It's not beating you over the head with it, and it really comes together in a very affirming way by the end.
Yep.
And like mentioned with the Matrix, you can kind of just turn it off, just keep going, and it's so funny. I don't know if the people give that movie that credit. That movie is so funny. It's hilarious, that movie.
Look what you did.
Yeah.
Look what you did.
I can't believe what you just did. It's like, come on, Dad.
They are my favorite father son combination in any movie. Like legitimately. And
W take.
that is my favorite Spielberg film is The Last Crusade. I
W
love
take.
everything about that movie. It's just so great. And when you are such a legendary film that even regular show plans a whole entire gag around, here goes excellently. You know that you're a legendary film. So
Oh
for
yeah.
anybody who got that reference, good for you. Because there was indeed a time in college where I binge watched almost the whole regular show. Wild stuff. Now, hey, what's a film that you feel like you connect with closely because it relates to another interest of yours?
I kind of have two answers to this one.
Hmm.
Um, and they both, in a way, kind of connect. The two that I kind of picked and couldn't decide between is the world of like kitchens and cooking and drumming. So I got Whiplash.
Nice.
I got The Menu.
Nice. It's a little
Because
bit darker. Actually, no, they're both kind of dark takes
I
on
was about to
both those
say.
things.
um, but I mean, yeah, they both deal with the idea of like when does it get too far, and they both deal with the idea of like are you going how much are you going to follow this to sacrifice yourself for it? And I
Mhm.
think that's the kind of thing where especially as I was like growing up loving art and figuring out who I was, movies like this almost like helped me like think critically about the way that I was going to pursue even my love of film. And like
Mhm.
Whiplash especially was like right around the year when I decided fully I'm a movie person. I want to go full on movies. Even though I love movies beforehand plenty, but just that was one of them at the time. And The Menu is just a recent one that I was just like, oh my god, Chef Julian is like who I could become if I was like just awful. If you let
It
all the
takes a
negative
lot of
parts of the world.
reflecting as a human being to acknowledge what villain in a movie you would become if you became a villain,
Oh,
honestly. And I have done that self-reflection myself. And I'm just like, oh, if I just let the worst aspects of me just take control, it's like, and you know, Ray Fiennes in that is so good. The Menu is so great.
oh
I
yeah,
That was such a great film. And then I feel like Whiplash is the drumming movie.
oh
Like
yeah. There's not even something
after that,
close.
after that, it just defined that. And it's like if you try to think of anything about drumming, it's going to be Whiplash. And hopefully, you have never dealt with a teacher like Fletcher.
Oh no, oh no.
'Cause
But it's like Whiplash is for drumming what like Rocky is for boxing. It's like you can't make another boxing movie without like, oh, it's under Rocky's shadow. It will forever be.
that's very true, which is why Martin Scorsese made a movie completely different. Raging Bull. It's just like,
which
nope. This is
which is
not.
a
This is not going to. This is not a boxing movie. It's like it's not. It really isn't. But
oh yeah,
no,
that's not yeah.
Whiplash is such a defining film, and like that put Damien Chazelle on the map. I know
Oh
he's in
yeah.
a bit of an awkward place right now, post Babylon. It's like, will people give me money ever
Mm-hmm.
again? But somebody did
Just waiting on
once.
A24 to scoop him up.
Hey, you know what?
A24 is going to scoop him up, and
There you go.
yeah,
No bankroll it. Now, what movie character do you feel like you connect with on a personal level?
I picked Star Lord, Guardians of the Galaxy,
Nice.
because I even had I put like a little write up here on my phone. I said I said more childish. There's like more childish than he'd like to think he is.
Hmm.
He can easily be distracted. Can often just kind of like go everywhere, and he likes a ton of things. He's a pop culture nut. But the thing that I think I connect with him the most is all of that combined with that I'm like uber loyal to my friends. Like if you like if I'm connected to you, I will hold on to you for the rest of my life. I can't imagine something being a higher priority. You're going to be everything to me forever.
I love that. That's a very special quality. And, Star Lord almost went out
Oh yeah,
protecting his
almost.
friends.
Right.
Almost. It'll be very interesting what they do exploring that character in the future if they choose to do so. Marvel's kind of all up in the air right now, so we'll have to see. But I have to admit, one of my favorite burns in any in any of the Marvel movies is certainly, well, I'm only half human, so what's half of me is all of you.
Oh god.
Because like that was actually a clever comeback. I'm just like,
Oh,
wait a minute,
oh yeah.
wait a minute. He actually can be smart. And Tony Stark's just like, idiots. I'm surrounded by idiots.
God, that
Oh,
golden age. And Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is what I consider the greatest comic book adaptation superhero film of all time. Like just 100% for me.
oh, Guardians 3 jumped right into my top five Marvel films after watching that. Like walking out of the theater, I'm just like, that's what I wanted. And it's
That
just like
that
it's a
James Gunn
special
guy,
film.
yeah, he's got something, that James Gunn.
Well, and then
He's good.
he's taking it elsewhere. So hopefully,
And
hopefully it all pays off with DC and what they're doing. So they could use it
yeah, they can.
because lost.
Superman is one of my favorite heroes of all time. So like if he does my boy dirty, then I'll
Well,
be
add to the list.
oh right.
Because unfortunately, like how many directors have done Superman right?
That
I
have
feel
done it?
like that's a loaded question, honestly, because depending on who you're
That's
talking
true.
to. I feel like, but I feel like Richard Donner's like the only one that universally people are like, yes,
That's
you did
that's why
it.
I said it. I'm not trying to come that's why I'm not trying to go full hot take here. Because like I'm a big like look, I'm a big Superman Returns defender. And you know what? Fuck the guy that made that movie. I'm just gonna say that, but it's
For a
and
second, I'm like, who made it? Remembered, oh crap. No.
you know, but yeah, it's like screw that guy. Doesn't even need to be named
Somebody
here.
left X-Men 3 to go make Superman Returns. So
Yeah,
there's a lot of people that are fun to remember about that movie at this point in
yeah.
time in 2024.
I was about to say fuck the villain too.
Awkward.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, what's a film that you love that you feel like would surprise people?
Now this would be depending on how well you know me. Well, depending on how
Mm.
much these surprise you. In terms of in terms of that, I'm just gonna kind of say one of my favorite Batman films of all time is the 1960s Batman the movie. I think that is a genuine comic masterpiece. I think it is a perfect film.
Sometimes you just can't get rid of a bomb.
Oh my god, it's that is one of my favorite comedic scenes in all of film. It is so
Just
fun. He can't find where to put it. It's it's
they're
so
like
good.
ducks. He just look straight at the camera. It's like sometimes you just can't get rid of a bomb. I'm just like, this movie had shark repellent.
Yeah, dude. I love that like in the helicopter too, you see there's like swordfish repellent and there's other kinds of repellent in there as well.
The best part is at the very end where they met. And spoiler alert for like how old of a movie when all of the delegates got mixed up and they're just like,
This is one
oh,
of my favorite things of all time. I love this.
um, let's leave. Just walk out. I'm just like, damn. It just
well,
went through this whole entire movie trying to stop this, and then they messed up,
well,
and they're just like,
well, no, they do fix it at the end. Do you not remember? Because they have a specific device in the bat cave. It's like a bat sand particle separator,
"Oh
and they
no!" But
put
all their
all of.
voices got switched,
Oh right, I forgot
and
about
then
that.
and they're just like,
Oh well.
just go like it's the only way for this movie to end. How
Oh
this movie went
yeah.
to this point, and of course you have all the villains, and you have the Penguin,
Yes, 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 yes.
Regis Meredith.
Masterpiece. And like the way they figure out in like the commissioner's like room, the way they figure out what villains are part of this, they're like C for Catwoman. The shark was pulling my leg. The Joker must be a part of this. It's just like
I'm just like,
this is truly fine detective work. The two biggest live action detective Batman are Adam West and Robert Pattinson, and I'm happy about it.
hey, somehow he knows things that are just unknowable. Whether that's
Oh yeah,
script convenience or how creative a detective Batman is. But it is what it is.
you got to take it as
And
canon, man.
also the fact that they're like, Caesar Romero probably is like, do you want me to shave off my mustache? No.
He
Well,
refused to
just
shave it.
paint. It's just like, I'm just imagining it's just like, no, leave it on and let's paint over it. Because, just like, it's so obvious that it's like this man has a mustache, this face paint, but it's so good. All of them are so good.
It's a fantastic film. Uh-huh.
Well, now I have the biggest question of all to ask you, May. What do you love about movies?
Um, God, we're having a fun conversation. To me, it's empathy and the empathy that they can create. like I mean, as a kid through life, I grew up in a pretty ideologically strict place, and I learned a lot of things about life and a lot of things about the way I should actually think about people, opposed to what people like my dad would want me to think through film. Like I remember even realizing that I'm not a spiritual or Christian person through watching Star Trek: The Next Generation. I specifically remember the moment. I like yeah, and it's like I think someone asked Jean-Luc Picard, they were like, do you believe in God? And he's like, I don't. He said something effective. I don't believe in any specific God, but I believe the universe is too vast and too random and too unknowable for there not to be something. And I was like, that that feels true to me. That feels honest.
Mhm.
And like even in a world that is just on Earth ground level, that makes sense.
Yep.
And that's just beautiful to me. And you can understand not only yourself but the world around you, and it can also give you the initiative to go out and talk to more people and to like use art to be a better person and carry it forward. And I think that empathy that is built into the fabric of storytelling is why I love film so much.
Well, and to all those people out there who are just realizing that Star Trek was that way all along,
Mm-hmm.
pay more, pay better attention to the things that you're watching. No, but like I 100% agree and understand with that, and especially as a self-professed hobbit who does not venture new places very often. I feel like film has been so important to me to connect and understand and experience ex, other experiences and perspectives. And it does help you be able to better understand that like there's people from different experiences that are going through different things than you. Because I came from a very, very white bread little suburban town in southern New Jersey called the
Mm-hmm.
Haddon Dome, where nobody leaves. Uh, and it's just
The
like
Hotel California towns.
uh, generations of the same families and stuff like that. And I escaped. And I went to way to college. I'm like, I could count the number of minorities on one hand that was in my graduating class when I was in high school. And going to college, I'm like, this is very different.
Oh yeah,
This
oh yeah.
and like not that right, especially when I was a student, Rider wasn't exactly the most diverse college, but like it was certainly diverse to me. But no, being able to watch film and expand and watch international film, watch films from creators from other backgrounds, or even watching films from creators who have experiences like you, and you can understand how they share their experiences through it. I have
Mm-hmm.
such a greater appreciation for Martin Scorsese because it's like I feel seen as an Italian American Roman Catholic from New Jersey. It's just like a lot of this makes sense. Catholic guilt, certainly there.
Oh
And like
yeah, oh
all
yeah.
of that. And film special in that way. It is a unique medium of art and it can do wonders. So I love your answer.
Thank you.
Now you get to ask me a question because that's how I like to wrap up the show. So May, what would you like to ask the Wasteland Reviewer?
Now, you before we started, I asked you how many
Yes.
movies you own. You said
Mhm.
a little under 2,000.
Correct.
1,988, I believe, was the number.
Hmm.
If you could narrow it down, if you had to sell all of them besides 100 of them, would you be able to do it? And what process would you go through to do it?
So we're gonna have a sad story first.
Okay.
Because before I was this big of a fan of film, I was this big of a fan of reading.
Oh yeah.
And I had to do that.
Oh no.
In college, I I grew up with my grandparents and my mom and my brother. And
Mhm.
when I was in college, my grandparents really couldn't go up the steps anymore, so they let me have the master bedroom, and I had shared a bedroom a decent chunk of my life and stuff like that. And what did I do with all the extra space? I had 9 bookshelves just full of books.
9. That's a
Unfortunately,
crazy number.
he, unfortunately, we got thrown out, and books take up a lot of space. and I had to get rid. I tried selling, wound up having to donate most of them to a library, and only really had like one bookshelf left. And I had to go
Oh,
through and be like, what are the of like the books that I really want to keep.
yeah.
So I've been there. So the answer to that first question is yes, I could if I had to. Um, the process would be, I'd probably just go based off of my favorite films. Like there's certain ones it's like if you could take my Lord of the Rings from my cold dead hands. Paraphrasing. Uh or like my Ben-Hur box set, which is also relevant to that reference because, Charlton Heston. And my beautiful 4K steelbook of 2001: A Space Odyssey. And like
Ooh.
there's definitely certain films that like these are the films that I love most. Would I
Mhm.
like I don't love all of them, but I'm gonna be keeping all my James Bond ones because I used to have all of them on VHS. That was one of my younger self collections of like I got all those Bond movies on VHS. I've been watching James Bond movies since I was 7. Is it
I
appropriate for a
was
7-year-old? No, but whatever, it happened.
I might have been
And
younger when I started, so I'm with you.
and I'm a fully functioning adult, so I turned out fine.
I mean, I'm not,
Um,
so that's fine.
so I think it would really have to go down to like what are my favorite films, and
Mhm.
some of my criterions that I would not want to part way with because they're so nice. Um, I
But you'd
would
be
want
going a
to
lot
do
more
it.
like you're going like a lot more like subjective rather than like this is an important notable film. You'd be like, what do I enjoy most kind of thing.
Yeah, it's tough because like it's interesting because I've kind of shifted gears. I'm like, there are certain classic films that I'm like, do I love this now? But would I want to rediscover it later? And I'll get it on like Criterion because it's like, how much longer is that an option? And
Oh
it's a
yeah.
sad state of affairs. Best Buy, looking
Yeah.
at you, and Disney, specifically, two biggest culprits right now. But no, it's like I want to be able to preserve certain things. And it's like I love when it's like internet's out, my movies aren't though. Just like go right upstairs and grab a movie.
I'm the exact same way. I'm like like once you have that disc, then it's like all you need is electricity, a monitor, and a player, and that's all. That's
There you
it.
go.
Yeah, and like the monitor and the player we've already done paid for. They'll stay good for a while, and then the disc will have forever. So
Yep. I have one room in my house that is mine, and half the walls are taken up by my movies. So that's how much they mean to me. But May, thank you for your question, and thank you so much for coming on.
oh, thank you, man. I had a great time. I'm having a great time. Just absolutely adoring it.
And you will be back at some point, circling back around,
Ooh,
if you want
exciting.
to.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Um, and I'll look forward to. I'm assuming you're going to be on some episodes from the superhero comic book season of Franchise Paradiso. That's going to get interesting because
Mhm.
I have seen most of them, unlike the horror
Same.
franchise one. So, but thank you again, May.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. Just great time. Loved it.
And thank all of you out there for always tuning in and supporting your Wasteland Reviewer.